Hello, hello, you guys, and welcome back to another episode of That's My Personal Business. I am so excited because we have Cathy McPhillips on the podcast today. How are you, Cathy?
I am great. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm like, you look like you're somewhere warmer than I am. I don't know if that's true or if you just have
Oh,
good
it's a, it's
lighting.
a, it's a, it's an illusion.
Okay. I'm like, I'm in snowy New York. Where are you?
I'm in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, so you're freezing.
Yes, I am freezing.
Yes. Okay, cool. I'm like, you're not experiencing any warmth at all.
No,
Absolutely not. Okay, so for those that don't know you yet, could you give us a quick little introduction on yourself?
sure. I am currently the Chief Growth Officer at the Marketing Artificial Intelligence Institute. We are a media and event and education company focused on making AI approachable and accessible to marketers and business leaders. So it's been a fun ride the past 13 months since ChatGPT came out.
Oh my
Our
gosh,
business has
I
changed a lot.
can't even imagine. I'm like, you guys are one of my favorite podcast episodes or podcasts that I listen to every Tuesday. So I was thrilled to have you on because you have like a lot of experience in marketing, right? Like 30 plus
Yeah,
years.
I've been around for a while.
Oh my
I
gosh.
hit 30 years this year, and it was like, oh my, that's something.
How has the past like 30 years of marketing been? I know that's hard to sum up, but I'm like, we have made so much growth even in the last like 10 years that I've been doing marketing. I can't even imagine over 30 years with all of the like
No,
strides we've seen in technology.
I've been really lucky because I started at a few agencies in Cleveland, and then due to some family situations, I had to quit my job and I started my own business. And then I just had to teach myself everything. So at the advent of social and all these different things as they were coming along, I just had to figure it out. So it's been fun. And then the past few years working with Paul and the team, it's been really eye-opening. I say to myself every day, like, oh my gosh, where was this, 30, 10, 20, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So it's been really fun and eye-opening and a learning experience for me.
So where did you kind of start with learning AI? Like how did that kind of come into your life?
So Paul Raitzer, our CEO, he's been a friend of mine for about 13 years, and he had an event, Maycon, which is the event our fifth event is this September. And Paul, my former boss, said, Paul's got this event in Cleveland, we should go. And so I went to support Paul, and I left there, and I was just like, oh my goodness. And this was 2019. So it's like, okay, this is something. But we went back to work on Monday, and it was like, we have so many other things we have to focus on right now. And AI at that point, there weren't a lot of case studies, weren't a lot of stories. And it was like a really like a nice to have, not a need to have. So
Mm.
it kind of fell by the wayside. And then the more I talked to Paul, we would meet, a few times a year and have breakfast. And the more he was talking, and it was just like, oh my gosh, there are some really solid applications. And now that things are becoming more mainstream, there are so many companies out there now talking about artificial intelligence, having it in their tech, whether it's a new technology or an existing tech that is now embedding AI into some of their products and offerings. It's just, it's here and it's helping me in so many of the things I'm doing day to day.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So how did you start? Like what was the beginning process like? Because I'm like ChatGPT, like you said, I can't believe it's only been like 13 months. That's
I know.
crazy to me. It feels like a lifetime. It's changed so rapidly and it's changed so much since when it first came out. What were kind of like the first days like as you started to learn ChatGPT, AI? Did you start with ChatGPT? Like what did those kind of beginning days look like?
No. So interestingly, the first week I was at the Institute, we had a webinar. And I asked Paul, so we have the webinar and we have the podcast. So we have webinars every few weeks. And I said to Paul, I said, who produces the webinars and the podcasts? And he said, you. I was like, perfect. I've never done that before. I mean, it can't be so hard, but also it's not in my knowledge base right this second. So he said it's fine. So, our webinars and our podcasts are done on Zoom, so very easy. But from a production standpoint, editing and doing all the iterations and short videos and clips and things like that, I just didn't have that capability. So I started with an AI powered tool called Descript, and within it, I could edit the video by deleting words from the transcript. I could adjust the sound based on an AI powered tool that removes background noise automatically. It just balances out the voices when Mike and Paul are in different rooms recording. So all of these things that I'm sure I could figure it out, but why when I have a tool that can help me do it?
Mm.
So Descript was my first foray into the AI world. And then it was writing copy, helping me write copy using copy.ai to help me with some Macon promotional copy for our event. And what I loved about that the most is that not only did it save me a ton of time, because I needed email copy, blog copy, social copy. It gave me all of that in a matter of minutes, me drafting a 100-word prompt, and it gave me pages and pages and pages of content. Some was okay, some was not usable at all, and some was pretty good. So I would go in and give everything a hard edit. But what I liked about that, aside from the time savings, was that it was speaking about our conference in words that I wouldn't use. So even when I try to sound different when I'm writing, I sound like me. You can tell it's me writing. I try to, I just might mix up some words a little bit, but really it is me. So I wonder if what AI is giving me is going to resonate more with our customers and our prospects than what I'm saying.
Mm.
So I've been A/B testing subject lines, A/B testing some social media and some email copy to see, wow, I'm learning more about what was really appealing and striking that chord with our customers, using some of these AI tools. So it's been really fun. And then that was pre-ChatGPT, and since then, so many other things have changed.
Oh yeah, I'm like so many things have changed. I'm like there I feel like every week there's 30 new tools that I like am hearing of and needing to learn. So a lot of my audience are creative entrepreneurs. So they're smaller businesses, they're usually one teams, one person teams. So they're doing it all. They're doing all of the things all of the time. How would you suggest approaching AI to people like that? Because we talk about AI a lot on the podcast, but I think when people talk about AI, it just sounds so scary. Like there's so much going on. I know sometimes I even listen to podcasts on AI and I'm like, there's so many terms I don't know. Where
Right.
can people kind of start out with AI? What are some like beginner friendly ways to get started?
Yeah. And I guess I would preface this by saying we are all learning this as we're going along. So all these tools, they're new to you, they're new to us. So we are just a little bit more vocal in there, testing it more because that's what our company does. But we're all figuring this out. So just jump in and test. But the way I would jump in first is I would look at all the things I'm doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, my recurring repetitive things I'm doing, whatever the cadence is. And I would say, how many hours am I spending? Is it something that maybe an AI tool could assist me? So for me, the podcast is every Tuesday. So we are editing the podcast, writing 4 blog posts, writing social copy, creating short form videos from that. And not everyone has a podcast, but just hear me out, because I can just go through and show you I'm using this tool for this and this tool for this. And if I calculate how many hours all of that should take me, it's about 20 hours a week. And none of us have 20 hours a week to be doing one task. So by using these AI tools, I'm able to go from 20 hours, we're down to 3 hours a week we're spending on the podcast, which is amazing. So, I can reinvest that time being more human, being more creative, being more building our culture within our team, doing all the things we love doing, and focusing less on the stuff that AI can help us do. But by finding those specific, very tangible use cases, that's how I'm using AI. And from right now, from my standpoint, the AI I'm using is basically a time saver for me. Am I
Mm.
going in and checking every single thing that AI gives me to make sure it's right, to make sure it's, accurate, obviously, and to make sure that it's in my voice, in my tone, that it is representative of what I want to be publishing? 100%. Are there a lot of things I don't use? 100%. But it gives me a lot of options and a lot of ways to help me just get through things faster. From a creative standpoint, I think if AI is like my creative partner, I don't have
Mm.
someone else on my team is really my creative buddy that I can brainstorm with, like I used to have at my old job. So I might put something in Dolly or Midjourney or Runway, the image generating or the video generating tools, and it gives me this output. And oftentimes the output is just not really good, especially with the people listening right now who are in the creative space. They're saying these tools just don't do what I can do. And you are 100% right. One, I'm not prompting as well as I could be. So I need to be able to talk to the AI better. Two, they're getting so much better. If you look at Midjourney from a year and a half ago versus Midjourney today, it's like night and day difference. If you've sat through some of Paul's courses, he has this one image or it's the same prompt over an 18-month period, and just seeing how Midjourney has improved, it's pretty remarkable. But a lot of times what I use the AI image generation for is it gives me this image. I'm trying to get something out of my head to give to somebody else so I can explain it. So I try
Mm.
to do it in Dolly, for example. And when the output comes back, I was like, oh my gosh, is that what they're going to think I'm trying to say? So I'm trying to be able to be a better teammate, a better partner, to use these tools. And then I get the output. I was like, okay, that's not at all what I was trying to say. So I'm trying to make my prompts and my communication with my team a lot better. So I'm
Mm.
using the tool that way. I'm also using the tool where I'll put something in to try to get an image for a blog post header or something like that, rather than using a stock photo. And again, our team is so small and so lean that we don't have a huge image library from which to choose. So I'm going sometimes to these tools. And what I'm getting sometimes, it's fine for a blog post. Paul needs a new speaker reel because he's been speaking so much more. We need new graphics for some ebooks. I'm going to the pros for that. For some small projects, I'm able to do it myself, but we still need the professionals for many, many, many things.
Mhm. No, absolutely. I think that's the greatest testament that like it can be used for small things to free up more time, but the professionals are still still
Yes,
needed
100%.
desperately. What are some of the ways that you've seen like with 30 plus years in the marketing space and AI? I'm like again, I feel like I see a new AI tool every day pop up that can help us with things. How have you seen kind of like almost from an agency perspective, for these smaller business owners that are almost having to work like their own agencies because maybe they don't have the budget yet. How have you
Right.
seen AI kind of integrated with day-to-day marketing in a helpful way?
I think it helps a lot with, if you're an agency and you have your clients and you're doing monthly reporting, does anyone love monthly reporting? Because I remember that wasn't the super fun part of my job, but it's so necessary to show that you are doing your job, performing, et cetera. So you keep that business and or learn from it and make some optimization, make some changes the following month. So AI can help a lot with data and analytics. And I think that's something we get so caught up right now with ChatGPT.
Mm.
But data and analytics and numbers, like AI is just ripe for, we're just ready to use that to help us with some of these reports and things like that. So that's something, and that's a repetitive data driven thing. I mean, that's what reporting is. So finding an AI tool to assist with that.
Do you have certain tools you recommend for that? Like, would you recommend ChatGPT or what tools do you think would be like a good place to start for? So, like, for example, I always suggest doing monthly analytics for my followers and like going through each of their platforms to see what was actually performing well, what was driving traffic to their site, what have you. And sometimes that can be really overwhelming to look at manually. So, do you have specific tools that you recommend for having AI help with that?
We're still learning this ourselves, and we just because we are a small business, so we are trying to figure out where we can make. We're doing monthly reporting for ourselves. We're
Mhm.
not really doing it for any clients, but we're still learning as we're going along. But I have realized that some of the tools, even Excel, Google spreadsheets and things like that, a lot of the tools that we're already using for analytics, HubSpot reporting, if you're using HubSpot or Eloqua or whoever you're using from a Salesforce, from that sort side of things, a lot of them now are embedding more AI into the tools that we're already paying for.
Mm.
So the first place I would start is going to the tools that you're using and saying, is there capabilities that we're not taking advantage of right now? And
Mm.
let's start using those better before we're going out and spending more money on something else.
Mhm.
There's a company called Sequoia Capital. I don't know if you've heard Paul talk about that before, but Sequoia um, has a library, or Scott Brinker's 11,000 Martech technology. It's like this one chart, and there's just 11,000 different AI, or not AI, but just marketing technologies out there. Well, Sequoia
Wow.
is doing a version of AI marketing tools
Mm.
or AI tools. It's a great place for us to go and just look for resources to say, okay, I'm in the generative AI space, I'm in the data and AI space, I'm in the social and AI space. What are some tools I can start considering? And that's what we've been turning to quite a bit to see who we should be connecting with, what the capabilities are, what are some needs that we may have that an AI tool could assist us.
Wow, that's an incredible resource. Could you repeat what that is called?
Um, it's called Sequoia Capital.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, we'll have to write that down, put that in the show notes for you guys, because I'm like, that's an amazing resource and crazy that there's how do you keep yourself from getting overwhelmed by like how many new programs and resources there are? Because 11,000 that's a lot. I'm like, that's a lot of
Right.
resources to
It
not get
is.
overwhelmed by. How do you kind of discern which ones are going to be helpful versus not?
On our website, marketingaibook.com, and Paul and Mike on our team wrote a book. And about halfway down that page, there's two workbooks that are downloadable free resources. And it's a very basic Excel spreadsheet and you just write down, for this one project, here's 10 steps. Here's 10 things we're doing to do this project. Or what tool do we have a tool to help us, AI or otherwise? How long does it usually take us in that given time period? What is our ability to intelligently automate using an AI tool for this particular task? What is the value to us? Is it going to save us time, money, resources, all of those things? And then you just rank them 1 to 5. It's the value is a 5, the ability is a 5. Okay, let's focus on this one thing. Our jobs as marketers are it never ends. There's always something we're going to be working on. So by using a spreadsheet, and you could even make your own, just to kind of rank order those things and start with what's the most important to us, what's going to have the biggest impact, save us the most amount of time, save us some money. Let's start there and let's see if we can make a good dent by finding a tool to help us with this one thing. And then work your way down the list or not. It doesn't need to be a huge expense, a huge onboarding of all these different tools to automate everything, to use AI for everything. Sometimes a very, very small change can have a huge impact on your business. On the podcast example I gave you, so I'm saving 17 hours a week, 68 hours a month. We're paying less than $100 for all the tech that we're using for that one project, let
Wow.
alone the fact that we're using those technologies for many other things within our business. So the value there for us is huge. So just small, significant changes I would start with. And when it comes to, okay, we're choosing this AI-powered email platform, but there's 15 other ones. Just stay focused on what you're trying to achieve and just stick with it. Just make that decision, figure out which one's best for you. Go through this checklist of, does it cover all of our bases? Is everyone on the team that's going to be involved in the process? And then they're different, but they're not different enough that you need to really they all have their goods and their bads, their capabilities and their different benefits, different strong suits, but you just kind of got to stay laser focused on what it's solving for you and not like what's the cool shiny new thing we need to be having.
No, it's so true. I'm like, there's always going to be a new shiny thing, but a lot of them are very similar in their capabilities. So it's like great to hear the like, pick one, pick a big problem, fix that, focus on that. Do you personally have any like favorite tools and resources that you use in your day to day or even month to month?
I talked about Descript.
Hmm.
That's what I use for transcription. I was just telling Paul yesterday, I was producing our podcast, and the transcription of even a few months ago was 90% right. Proper nouns, it didn't really get very well. There were some things, it never spelled Paul's name right because his name has a unique spelling. And so I was going in and changing some things manually, but it's fine because it was giving me most of the transcription accurately. I did it yesterday and I was like, oh my gosh, Paul's name spelled right, my name spelled with a C. It was really, really good. There were still some things I needed to fix, but that's been improving. So Descript I use all the time. Pretty much I'm in there every single day. And ChatGPT, honestly, I use GPT-4. We just got a team license for the 7 of us, which is exciting. We're trying to see how is that different than just having each of us having an individual license. Is there a value to our team learning from each other? Is it learning from our team? Is it giving our team answers from each other? Or there's there a benefit to a team license versus 7 individual licenses? Like, what does that mean? And Paul's like, I don't know yet. We'll figure this out. So like I said, we're just trying to learn this all in real time and in the public ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's one of the funnest things about not chat GPT, but AI in general is that like we're all learning. It's brand
Yep.
new. It's no
Yep.
one is like a perfect expert in it in the way that it works because we're all learning. How are you guys using chat GPT? So you're starting into Script, you're moving into chat GPT. Are you using that for blog posts? Like what are some of the things that you're using it for?
Yeah. So Mike on our team, he does the podcast brief. So the format of our podcast is Mike and Paul go through 3 major topics in the AI world over the past week, break those down. Mike gives a summary, Paul and Mike banter back and forth on what it means for businesses, for marketers, why you should care, what you should watch out for, a little editorial, a little commentary, move on to topics 2 and topic 3. So Mike writes this multi-page brief preparing for the podcast. Mike and Paul record the podcast, and then from it comes a show notes blog post, and then individual blog posts based on each of those 3 topics. So there's 4 blog posts from there, which blog posts take a long time to get them, to have them be good.
Yeah,
You can
takes
write
a
a
lot of
blog
time.
post. You can do a blog post very quickly if you want it to be mediocre. So it
Mhm.
takes a minute for it to be a good blog post. So I actually have been I tested this yesterday. I took the show notes that Mike drafted, or the brief that Mike drafted. And I took that section, which he had it in bullet points, because that's how he wants to be kind of reading it, not verbatim on the podcast, but he wants those notes so he can just kind of reference them. So I took all of that and I put it in a ChatGPT and I said, can you write me a blurb for a blog post that summarizes this section to entice readers to want to listen to the podcast episode? I didn't want any sales pitch in there. I just wanted it to be like read a paragraph and be like, oh my gosh, I need to listen to this. And it gave me really good results. So it gave me the start of our show notes. So I took those 3 sections and I made that into our show notes blog post. And then Claire and our team is now taking that section of the transcript from the blog post, from the podcast transcript, and saying, can you write me a blog post on topic 1, topic 2, and topic 3? And then she's going through and giving it a hard edit. So we're using ChatGPT for that. We're using it to write our social posts. So again, going through and saying, here's our show notes page, or here's the transcript. Can you craft LinkedIn posts, Facebook posts, tweets, anything else? Can you go through there and can you give me that? And I've tried Bard, I've tried Perplexity, I've tried ChatGPT, and they're all pretty similar in their results. Sometimes I like one better than the other, but depending on the week, but they're pretty consistent. None of them are perfect. I give them all a really good edit with their good starting points. And then I go back to Descript because we've been doing YouTube shorts, we've been doing Instagram stories, we've been doing shorter form videos on just regular YouTube. And within Descript, I can do, so say there's a 2-minute segment that Paul and Mike are talking about that I really want just to have, like, that's a good soundbite I would like to upload on LinkedIn as like a native file. I just need to go through and I need to highlight those words and I say create new composition and it creates a new video for me.
Wow.
It's just amazing. Like that would have taken me an hour,
Yeah.
maybe, right?
No, literally.
So then Claire has gone in and has done an intro and an outro that we have saved in Descript. So we just drag that over and drag that in. And it's in a matter of minutes, we've got a short clip of the podcast. So it's given us the ability to get our message out there more, do things in formats that other people, someone maybe doesn't want an hour of the podcast, but give me a snippet, give me a soundbite, give me something I can learn this week. And now we can do that. And our podcast listens and views have gone up substantially because now we're in more places sharing the message more. And people are like, oh, I didn't even know you had a podcast. Or I want to listen to this because now this one story that I'm hooked. I want to go listen to this, at least to listen to this episode. And that's our job to bring them back. But it just gets them from that one point of I didn't know you existed to, oh, I would like to learn more about this. So it's just distributing our content more is obviously a critical piece of any amazing piece of content. It could be the most amazing piece of content, but if someone doesn't see it,
No,
you know,
it's so true.
we gotta get them we gotta get them back to us.
And I love this idea of like using the podcast as what I call core content, where you like create some piece of content, you let it bleed into everything else. So I love that these tools are available to like help us spread out that content more easily and accessibly. What kind of platforms do you guys, I know you mentioned like a few, but are you doing like YouTube and things like that? Have you found any like AI that helps well with like SEO optimization or anything like that? Or do you guys mostly stick to like ChatGPT, Descript, things like that?
From an SEO standpoint, we've been using Market Muse for a number of years, and I believe they're coming out with a small business option. It
Mm.
was, it's built for the enterprise, but a lot of the people are coming to them saying, we're just a 1, 2, 5, 10 person shop, and we just can't afford that. So they are looking at other options to provide value to all sizes of companies. And they're great because, Mike could say, I have 10 topic ideas for blog content, help me prioritize which ones I should be writing on, what keywords I should be including, what are our customers looking for and what do they need from us right now? And let me focus on that. So that's been really good. And whenever I write a blog post, Mike will run it through Market Muse and it'll I'm like, this is a great blog post. And he's like, it's greatly written, but it's not going to do well for search. So let's go through and change up some things. And at first I was like, don't change my podcast. I don't change my
Yeah.
blog post. But you just learn, I want people to see it. So I want to, and I don't want to write for SEO. I want to write for me and write for our customers, but I'd like to make sure it gets seen. So it's finding that balance of, changing the right things without losing the integrity of what I was trying to do by using some tools like Market Muse. And then, what else did you ask about? You asked about SEO, and then
Like YouTube, do you guys utilize that?
a little bit, and they're doing more and more. And Claire has taken over the podcast production for me, so for our team. So I haven't been as close to that as she has lately, but I do know that when Descript was giving me the transcript, I was able to upload the transcript into YouTube, and the AI there is that the AI was able to match up the transcript I uploaded to the person's voice, to the person's. So when the captions were coming up, it was perfectly aligned to how they were saying. So that's AI. So we're learning more and more about these tools. And to your point, when I was using YouTube, that wasn't necessarily like AI was a little, here and there, but all these tools need to start using AI more, or embedding AI more in what they're doing, because customers are kind of at the point where we need it,
Yeah.
or they need to do it to stay afloat.
I think there's almost like a point too where I know I'm shocked when I go to use some of my tools and there's no AI. Like I'm almost shocked that they don't have AI of any kind. So I feel like we're almost growing to expect an element of AI within our tools. Is there, like, to kind of close out, are there whispers or like upcoming things in AI that you're really excited about that you think are going to change the game a lot? Or like what's new and like I know I'm sure by the time this podcast episode comes out, there will be like 10,000
Right.
more things that have come out. But right now, what new advances are you feeling excited for, or are there whispers or news of big things coming?
So there's this tool called Rabbit, and I shouldn't even speak about it because I don't know enough about it to really have a conversation, but it's basically a device that you can just have these tools in your pocket. You know what I mean? It's just,
Wow.
I mean,
Like a device that you can personally
I
carry.
guess that's like what our phone is. Do you
Hmm.
know what I mean? But it's now, I actually want to check it out really quick while we're talking.
Yeah, please do. I'm like, that's wild.
It is wild. Your Pocket Companion. It's an AI powered gadget that can use your apps for you, powered by a large language model. And I believe it came out at CES is when they launched it. But it's just, I mean, I thought our phone did all that for us, but like, what's this going to be different? Like, what does this mean? And I think they made 10,000 units and it sold out within 24 hours. So they
Wow.
had a production run. So I'm sure it was all marketing tech, engineers that bought them all, not your average consumer, but just interesting to see what that is. And then we did a podcast earlier today, or a webinar earlier today, and Paul was showing how he used the video capability in Runway ML. And he wanted to create a video. So he found an image he liked, but he wanted that image to be a video.
Mm.
So he had ChatGPT describe the image, if that makes sense. So, and it was like a really, really robust, creative storytelling description of this image, 150, 100 words, something like that.
Mhm.
And he was like, I could have never written something about this photo in such detail. It's not in my skill set. It's not what I'm a storyteller, but whoa, this is something else.
Mhm.
He then took that prompt, put it into Runway, and said, can you make me a video of this? And it made a video, and it was like, you would never know that AI did that.
Wow.
Or would that video would have been as good if the description wasn't as good? So it's
So
like,
kind
now
of
these,
like using the two tools.
yes. And how can we use these two, three, four tools together to create something absolutely amazing? And I think that's where the creativity comes in. It's like, this could be really fun. And we're not creating the same things, and our voices and our uniqueness can really shine in some of these instances.
Oh, I love the idea too of like it does take creativity to even think of how to use
Oh
these tools
gosh,
together.
absolutely.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
because you could write a prompt. I was trying to show my husband, who is also in marketing, but he's more on the merchandising product
Mhm.
side. And I said, try using ChatGPT, and he tried it, and he was like, mm. I was like, tell me, I'm like, show me what your prompt was. And I was like, we got to work on that. We got to work on this prompting. So I showed him, and he was like, oh my gosh. So the better we are, the more expressive we are, the more able we are able to say exactly what we're trying to do with these tools, the better results we're going to get.
Amazing. And to kind of, I'm like, this is a great way to close out is one, where can we find you? Because I was going to ask, like, how do you recommend people get started in learning these tools better? But I'm sure that's the same answer as where to find you.
It is. It is. Marketingainstitute.com. Really easy to find. And within our resources section in our top navigation, there's an intro to AI class that we do every few weeks. Paul and I do it. It's free, it's virtual. It's a good 1 hour of Paul talks for like 30, 35 minutes about what AI means, how to get started. Here are some things you can be thinking about in your own business, companies of any size. And the last half hour is he and I are on taking questions from the attendees, and they're always different. It's such a fun class. It's a great way to start. So I would suggest just, and on our website, we've got blueprints, webinars, white papers, ebooks, research. Most of what we have is free on there. And then we have some paid options as well, but you'll find them if you want them.
Amazing.
They're
Oh my
all on there.
gosh. Yeah, that's so helpful. And we'll leave all of that in the show notes. But thank you so much, Cathy, for coming on. This has been amazingly helpful.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah, we will link everything for you guys down below, like I said. And thank you, Cathy, for coming on. And thank you guys for listening.